Hello, Neighborhood Church family. My name is Pastor Steve. I have the privilege of serving as the worship and associate pastor here at the Neighborhood Church. I am so glad to be a small part of walking us through this prayer and fasting weekend with you. So why do we fast? Well, here at the Neighborhood Church, we believe that faith isn't just something we talk about. It's something we put into practice. It's how we put our faith into action. Fasting is one of the most powerful spiritual practices available to us. It's not about earning God's favor. It's about making space for hearing God's voice. So what is fasting? Well, fasting it's first of all, it's voluntary. It's choosing to set aside food or something else. Now, for myself, it should be food because I'm so addicted to it. But we devote that time or that hunger to prayer and seeking God. Jesus didn't say if you fast, he said when you fast. That assumes that fasting is a normal part of everyday believers' lives. The passage that I get to reflect on with us today is Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 through 18. So I'm going to read that with us today. And when you fast, don't make it obvious as the hypocrites do, for they try to look miserable and disheveled, so people will admire them for their fasting. I tell you the truth, that is the only reward that they will ever get. But when you fast, comb your hair, wash your face, then no one will notice that you're fasting except your Father, who knows what you do in private, and your Father who sees everything will reward you. So what Jesus is addressing isn't whether we should fast. He's assuming that you will fast. Jesus is addressing the why you fast and who you're fasting for. Jesus paints a beautiful picture of the hypocrites who would fast in a way that would make sure that everyone knew it. They had disheveled hair. That means that they were just messy. They were unkept or untidy in their appearance. They had a gloomy face. They tried to make themselves appear downcast or sad, showing how forced their suffering is in order to be spiritual. They were a walking billboard that said, "Look how spiritual I am right now." And Jesus says it so clearly as possible that applause, that recognition that they were looking for, that's the only paycheck they were ever going to get. Jesus actually flips the script on them and he says, comb your hair, wash your face. In other words, fast in a way that nobody else can tell that you're fasting. Because fasting is fundamentally an act between you and your Heavenly Father. It's not a performance. It's not a spiritual resume builder. It's about you quietly stepping away from something that you normally reach for and reach for God instead. So this is a time where we get to fast this coming weekend. I want everybody to have something hopefully freeing for you. I want you to realize that nobody's grading you, that nobody even needs to know what you're doing or how well you're doing at it. If you've walked this road many times before, you've fasted lots, well, then let these verses help recalibrate you and I, because it's possible for us to fast for years and still let it quietly become about our identity or our discipline or our image, even without us even meaning to or noticing what's happening. Jesus is inviting all of us, beginner and veteran alike, back to that same simple posture of a private bedroom before your Heavenly Father who sees everything and who will reward you for what you do for Him alone. So as you and we step into this weekend, whatever your fast looks like, however small, however deep, remember it's not a performance for other people around you. It's actually a conversation with you, with God and you, who already sees you, who already knows you completely. So what does fasting do for us? Well, first of all, it really humbles us. It reminds us that we don't live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God. It sharpens us spiritually and our sensitivity because it helps us settle down the noise around us so that we can hear God's voice clearer. And it shifts our focus from our needs towards God's kingdom. So remember, as we fast this weekend, your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you.